All right, what is going on, boss traders? This is Alex from Boss Crypto. If you guys want access to our exclusive trading academy, we've opened up a limited amount of seats. It's completely free, guys, 30 days. Come check us out, bosscrypto.co, or just click the link in the description. You can get access to our free trial today. If you guys enjoy the video. So naturally, y'all know what I'm here to talk about. Okay, so we're going to do a typical top-down analysis, all right? And we're going to talk about the potentially dire situation that Bitcoin is in, okay? So it's going to be dire or it's going to be fire, you know? So let's figure this one out. All right. So starting from the monthly, let's talk about this, right? BTC consolidated all the way back here after a massive expansion. You didn't break the monthly 8, right, which is this teal moving average, the monthly 8. Once you got above it in the last bull market, you did not break it until it was over, right? Whereas here, we are starting to break below our long-term moving average. And this is this moving average, and more importantly, the relationship of price to the moving average is how we define if we're in a long-term bull market or a bear market. And in addition to that, we pay attention to our long-term cycles. You can see in the last bull market, we only crossed down the cycle once, which is pretty natural to have a cycle cross down and then price goes sideways or pulls back. You got to pull back to the 8. At one point, you possibly looked like this, where you were below the 8, and then you wicked back above it by the end of the month, which kind of saved it, right? And that kept Bitcoin in the bull market, because if not, you would have had, and this break of the 8 usually coincides with a lower low on the lower time frame, and so you would have had a lower low combined with a long-term cycle cross, would have been back in a bear market. And that's essentially what we have here now on BTC, right? We don't have to look at the past. All we got to really look at is right now, okay? And our cycle direction is now down, and we haven't closed just yet. We've got about 7 days, right? Something like that, 5 to 7 days to save this candle, because right now we have a really bearish setup forming. Okay, if you guys don't know about the Boss Crypto model, this is called a BCI, known as a bearish candle ignored, or in this case, a bullish candle ignored, right? And we had another similar one to this right over here. Hold on, I have it's late at night here, so I have like my blue light filter off, so I can't tell what colors are actually. There we go. Okay, right. So we actually had another BCI, multiple ones, the bearish candle ignored back here. And what that means is you had multiple candles going in the original trend direction, and then you had a candle try and reverse that direction. Okay, and when that candle gets taken out, closed above, the following months you usually get follow through, and you can see the next month you got follow through with that candle. And then that candle also became a BCI when you took it out with this candle, and that candle also got follow through. Likewise, we got another one here. And one thing that's interesting about these BCIs is they almost always tend to be in the middle of the move. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles up, a BCI, and then you don't just get one candle, right? You get 3 more candles up. And so it's pretty likely that if we close below this level, right, and this is a very long-term support level we have going on here, if we close below that, it's likely the next month we will get follow through too. Okay, and it's not guaranteed, not set in stone or anything. It's just statistically the BCI gets follow through. And the rule, if you're playing this on the short side, is you don't take profits on this candle, you take profits on the next one, because it's so likely to get follow through. All right. So if we close below this level, I think you're going to really profit from playing on the short side for a while, just like a lot of people have profited from being short from the $9,000 break. Okay, so if we close below, it's looking like about 7,300 on the monthly this month. Be very, very cautious on your longs, okay? And that's all I really got to say about that, all right? Because then we'll have a close below the 8 on the monthly and a cycle cross down here. Okay. And you don't want to fight that, right? What we'll see on the weekly is we have closed the first candle back below the bands, the 60 EMA, since, we haven't been below the bands since April this year, right? And the last time we were in an uptrend in regard to the bands and we closed below it, it eventually led to a massive move down to the 200 period weekly, the 200 period weekly moving average, which is right now at about 4,800 to 5,000. And I'm not trying to sound super bearish like we're going to get there, right? When we zoom in, we're going to see this move here is fucking unreal. Okay. It is just the craziest dump that I've ever seen outside of shitcoins. It's crazy. And so, I'm kind of at a war with myself, where my signals like breaking the bands and the monthly break, right? They're telling me that it's likely we go down to these lower levels. But man, being Bitcoin, 50% retrace, everyone's more bearish than ever. It's like it's hard to hop on the bear train, but you can't deny from a PA standpoint, there's a lot of bearish stuff going on here, right? We had a huge reversal candle that crossed up our slow stochastic. We had this long drawn out slow stochastic pullback where even the high, oh, look at this perfect example of a BCI again right here. You have this huge move up and a really bearish engulfing candle there with the cycle high. It looked like it was going to be a clear pullback. And then the candle after, you fully engulf that, invalidating the bearish candle, and you got big follow through the next 2 months. Okay, and that's basically, we have the opposite of this on the monthly. And so, yeah, if we close below this level, the 7,300 on the monthly, it looks really, really bad. Okay, and now we've crossed down our weekly cycle. We've made the new lower low. We've lost the 0.618 fib, which was at 7,250. So we've closed below that level. And, now it's just it's tricky to be on the long side, right? Either you closed longs back here, or you were using this pivot for your longs. But now, the only long I kept was my long I added on this engulfing here, right? And my partner at Boss Crypto, he's long 80% of his account from this fat boy, and he won't budge. So, it depends on your individual position, what you're going to end up doing. But, I had some longs that I added in here after the big main pop, and I added on this pullback at 74. And I sold some into the high, but I kept a good amount of my position core long. And then I bought some back in here. I bought a little on this pullback, and I took all of that off except for this buy, which is only like 10% of my account. I took all of that off today. And I actually was able to make a little bit today on a short play from like 71 down to 6.5. Right. And so I was able to make back about half of what was lost on that break. And again, none of it's not lost in the sense that it was a loss on the trade. It was just I went into profits and then I lost some of those profits. And so that is still a loss, in my opinion. It's not like the original trade was a loss, but it still hurts. And so I was able to make some of that back on this little pullback today. I can actually show that on the 4 hour. Talking about the BCI, I might as well show it, right? At a BCI on the 4 hour here. And what do you know? You take out the low. I didn't even see the BCI until after I entered. I was looking even lower on the 1 hour. But I had my entry up in here somewhere. Stop above the BCI. This candle takes out the low, right? Essentially invalidating this chance to reverse. And then that candle gets followed through. And the next one got followed through. And I closed most of mine right in here. Right? And so I'm no longer short, but I mean, I can see why people would want to be short because it looks gross. And, it's pretty much just a guessing game now where this is going to land. Like I said, we turn on the weekly. We turn on our moving averages. We got the 200 at 5,000. Let's take off our moving averages again. We've got this zone we consolidated in. And really, that's the only support zone we have outside of here that we made on the way up. Okay, you've got this candle too. You see the low from this one. That was basically, we broke above 6, we launched up, and we retested 6. And that's the only retest of 6K we had until now. It's kind of crazy. And so we're taking out this support level. Well, you know, we're going to stop at the level we dumped from. Are we going to stop at the support level that we were trying to hold? Are we going to stop at the lower end of the support region? Are we going to stop here? Are we going to stop at the 200? Are we going to go for the 786 fib, which is at 54? You know, if we use the VPVR, right? If you guys know about that, it's the volume profile tool or whatever. It shows where the volume at certain levels Bitcoin was traded. And so for here, we can see the breakout to new all-time highs in 2017 has the most traded on this chart. Not surprising, you know, that was a crazy amount of Bitcoin that was traded back then. Some other big areas, 45 to 37. And I was actually talking about this as it was happening back here. I was pointing out that we're actually, you know, more Bitcoin is being traded in here than there was in the 6,000 range, which was crazy because this felt like so long compared to this. But we can see on VPVR, there's a huge gap from about 6 to, you know, this is not like this is not volume. It's just very small compared to the rest of the chart's volume, right? There's a huge gap down to 45. Okay. And what that is it's the top of the bear market range. And that was never tested. We went up, consolidated, and then we just continued. And so, and what happened at 6K, right? We just rocketed through like it was nothing, just like we dumped through like it was nothing. So this area, if we can't hold, you know, it's probably going to get even more volatile, and I don't see why we wouldn't just dump right through it. And I think it's going to be, if it happens, I think it'll just be a wick, but, you know, it could be very bad for anyone in a heavy long position. Okay. I'm actually seeing some price action here on the 1 hour. See, this would be, now I've closed my short, so I'm like, come on, let's fucking reverse now. But, you know, there's another BCI here on the daily too. And you can see that got follow through as well. BCI is just crazy, right? It's very common and it works often. And so I just want to point out again on the monthly, if we close below this level, we will likely see follow through. It doesn't mean, you know, the day we close, we're just going to dump. You could reverse up for a little bit and then go down, but this is the worst signal you could get if we close below that level, okay? And then, like I said, if we can't hold this level on the VPVR, not like the VPVR is the end all be all, but it's just showing us the crazy amount of support that we have here. And then below that, it's much weaker until 4,000. And so if this is not holding us up, you know, is it that likely this does? I guess the idea, and here's why I don't like the VPVR that much, is it only shows previous history. It doesn't tell us anything about now or about the future. And so there's no way to know if when we break this level, if all of a sudden a huge amount of support is going to come in here. There's no way to know, right? And so that's why the VPVR is not my favorite tool. It's very lagging, but, you know, it just shows us where these levels were, or, yeah, where a lot of Bitcoin was traded at the last time it was at these levels. Okay, and we can see very clearly we are at a key place. You know, if it ain't going to hold here, and I'm actually a little bit long on a margin here, if we can't hold here, it's going to get really messy, right? You know, like I said, we've got, it's up to you if you want to pick where we're going to land, you know, like I said, where we dumped from, the bottom of this wick, this range, we got the 200 MA. You know, there's no way to know. But I'll tell you what, by the end of the month, we're either going to scam pump the fuck up or we're back in a bear market. And I really hate to use like such definitive terms, but how I define a bear or bull market is trending above the 8 is a bull market, especially while you're in an up cycle. And then if you're trending below the 8 and you're in a down cycle, you're in a bear market. Simple as that. And we trade in regards to the price action. And so when the moving average is coming down, it's going to now act likely as resistance. Okay, and so when we zoom in on the daily, oh, I got too many indicators here. When we zoom in on the daily, it's likely that getting above that region is going to be very difficult, right? So that's the 8 on the monthly. And on the weekly, we've also got the 8 as resistance. which is in here. I'll draw that. It's going to keep coming down. And so when we finally get to the daily, you know, we can see we're just building up these resistances on our moving averages in the long term, while also we're already adding all kinds of other resistances. You know, you could throw in angular resistance in here for sure. You know, maybe you could do a little bit of a wider one there. You could, you know, you throw up the fibs from here, right? We tried to hold halfway in here. That's going to be resistance right from the top of this range, the low of this range, this low, this low. It's just we're stacking on resistance, and then of course, like I said, you add on that one, you add on our long-term moving averages. We're just stacking resistances. So call me bearish if you like. It's just when the price action's bearish, I gotta be honest, and it looks bearish. The bright side is it looks absolutely and utterly horrendous. And some of the craziest and best price action in Bitcoin's history has come after it looks horrendous. Now, my bet, if we don't scam wick up back by the end of the month, we're going to have to go much lower. Maybe not much lower. You know, like I said, it could stop at one of these levels, but it's possible we go much lower. And we'll likely have to sideways and slow grind up into the halving of next year. Okay, I don't think it's going to just, I don't think if we close the monthly below this level, I don't think we're just going to rip right back up like it's nothing. And I'm happy to be wrong, but it just doesn't seem that likely. Okay, so that's the situation on BTC. If we turn on our indicators here, we can see again, all our daily moving averages are coming back down. We've got the 8 on the daily as resistance. Okay, we got the bands rolling over here. And so going down to the 4 hour, I'm going to be looking to short bounces up to, you know, mid to upper 7,000s, up to mid 8,000s. Unless if we recover by the end of the month, you know, if we rip up, then maybe I won't be looking to short. But if we just come here and get a hard rejection or you know, back to this level, I'm happy to add to my shorts again. But at some point, shorting a move like this is going to really, really hurt. And so you don't want to be caught on the wrong side of the trade when that happens. You know what I'm saying? So you got to manage your risk. Like on the BCI today, you know, when I went short, I had to acknowledge where I was in the trend and what could happen. And so, you know, the moment I was in profits, I think my first profit was, you know, like it was like 69.17. It was right when we made a new low. And I took off half because my stop was up here. It was like a half BTC loss if I took it. And I could take profit here and it would only be like a 0.2, which was like, well, that's a no-brainer. I can reduce my risk by half and then hold the rest for lower levels. And then after doing that, I went into the 1 hour, and once we took out this low, this topping tail over here, I lowered my stops from the BCI on the 4 hour to this breakout candle here. Now my stops are in profits. I made a quick short. I made like 1 Bitcoin off it, and I shorted a move that looks like this. It looks terrible. People would say you're crazy to short down here. And honestly, it is a little bit crazy, but the trend is my friend until it's not. And so I'm okay to keep shorting it. And honestly, you know, I'm looking at the 4 hour here. We had a nice play off pi, but once we broke that in here, I should have gone ahead and started adding to the short side here and in here. And definitely a mistake to fail to do that. And so that kind of adds on to the pressure of adding down here. Like, oh man, I missed the ideal moments. So adding here makes it even more painful, but it worked out. And I think shorts will keep working out until we get a very clear break back above some of these pivot lower highs. Okay. So that is the game plan of Bitcoin. Shorting bounces, adding long in the long term, right? You know, if you're like us, we came in down here and bought some. My partner is still, like I said, he's just sitting on his. He's bought like 80% of his portfolio in it. Bought some more here, and I sold some up here, sold some more in here. If you sold well up here, you know, this is a nice discount. And so from that point of view, it makes sense to buy some. But if you're buying some and you can't stomach if we go down deeper, then you're buying too much, right? Or you should just be waiting until we're back safe and sound above 9,000, 10,000 or something, right? So that's the game plan on BTC. Alts, if you guys want to know what's going on in alts, we're making absolute bank in altcoins. Just because we're talking about it, I got to point it out, guys. BCIs are insane. Look at this one on Matic. Okay. Boom. You take out, you get a setup, right? You know, we had some lower highs here, and then we took out this lower high right there. Okay, I'm looking for a long. I get the BCI, I break above it, and so I longed right here at 187. Stop below the low. Right, there's the BCI. Normally, if the candle that does the taking out doesn't break below the BCI, then you just put the stop below the BCI, but it's the low of the two. But anyways, a great breakout. I took some at into this high, I think at like 220. I took off half, and now I'm just chilling. Right? You know, sold half for 15%. Now I'm chilling on the rest, up almost 50%. And I just get to keep chilling because I already sold half. You know, I'm there's no risk to this. I just get to hold. And what are we doing now? We're forming another BCI. And so these typically get follow through. So I'm gonna wait. It makes sense to TP here, honestly, as well. Maybe I'll sell a little piece, but for the most part, I'm just holding now. Because this is making a long-term breakout while BTC is getting wrecked. Okay, when have we last seen altcoins perform well while BTC gets wrecked? It's been a fucking minute. Okay, so if you're not paying attention to this kind of shit now, guys, you are missing out. Okay, I mean, we're making bank on Matic. We're making bank on Atom, although only up like, hey, a 15% though. That's fucking bank, right? You know, making bank on that. XLM still sitting at break even, but it looks like it wants to follow Atom. What are some other ones we've been nailing? I'm loading up on TNT. This looks really good. Looks like it's starting to take off as I speak. Tezos, I mean, we have just been absolutely killing it on Tezos in the chat. You know, I hopped in multiple trades, one at 14, one again at 15, one again at 16, and we're sitting in profits on all of them. You know, it's basically the inverse Bitcoin. The day BTC topped out is the day this took off. And so all these trades together are helping recoup the downside on the USD downside of this drawdown on BTC, right? So if you're missing out on trades like this, guys, you know, come join us in the chat. I'm talking about this stuff every day. Got a lot of good educational content in there for you guys to see. But anyways, what else we seen? What else? Oh, dude, I mean, this is one of my best trades the last few months. Freaking Chili's coin, dude. Chili's. I'm gonna tell my kids one day I made bank on fucking Chili's coin. But guess what? Guess what the setup was? BC freaking I broke out from the top, added to longs, stop below the low. I sold again, same as I'm doing now. Sold half into a new high, 15%. The rest I just got to ride until I don't even remember where I got stopped out. I think it was like 40% or something. Either way, right? Fucking 40% on Chili's coin. You know, you guys want to make 40% on Chili's coin? Come join us in the chat. We'd love to have you. If you want to know how to handle this BTC breakdown, come join us in the chat. Okay, we're talking about this every day, right? And if you guys stay to the end of this video, I know you're going to fit in perfectly with the other 350 investors in our chat. So come join us. I'll be looking forward to talking with you. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Trade safe and have a great start to the week. Peace.